All right, well, welcome back to another episode. This should be our sixth here, I think, of the YAP2ASIA podcast. I'm blackenBlue. With me, as always, wonderful Paperthin, Quack, and Sleepy. How you guys doing? Let's not forget as well, Jwandi. I want to ask everybody first and foremost, what have you boys been up to? Paperthin, let's start with you.
Casting. Yeah,
Right.
but been doing nothing but watching Valorant. That's about it. Like it's like Valorant, and I've been reading the 3-Body Problem. That's my like new goal for myself.
I love that.
What?
Yeah, the books. They're
yeah.
by a Chinese author. What is it? Shijin Liu. I don't know how to pronounce it. I probably butchered that. I'm so sorry, but they're really good. They're like science fiction, like about like humans make contacts with aliens and bad things happen. So
You know, there's a series about that, right? On Netflix?
Yeah. There's one. Yeah, there's one on Netflix. There's also a Chinese one that one of my friends in China recommended, like that they made. That's much closer to the
Based
books.
on
It's
that
really-
too. Oh,
Yeah.
I see.
It's just called 3-Body. It's really, really good, actually. Like better than the
I'll do
Netflix
that.
one, I think. So,
Nice. Damn.
but I'm actually reading the books now, trying to like actually, and they're actually really, really good. So, highly recommend.
Nice.
Interesting.
Add it to
I
the book
Googled it right now. It does look like it is a popular thing moving forward.
Yeah.
Quack, how about you? What you been up to? I see you got the new haircut.
Listen. Oh yeah, I did get it in Korea.
Nice.
It's like
Oppa. Hello.
nothing
Yeah, remember I was
as
making fun of you for
cool.
it.
Oh yeah, always fun. I mean, it was like a super shaggy kind of hairdo from before. Nothing as cool or as intense as Clinton here. I mean, I'm like in an Airbnb, you know? So I'm like trying to get my bearings and then trying to figure out where everything is. I did find a boxing gym, so that's kind of nice. But showing up there and not being able to speak a lick of Korean, it's not easy. I think at some point the coach figured out. I don't know. He was speaking to me, and then he said, "안녕하세요, 감사합니다." And 죄송합니다, which is like sorry in Korean, right?
Yeah.
And I was like, what is he trying to say to me? And I'm like, oh, he's repeating what I've been saying to him the whole time. He's asking me if these are the only 3 phrases of Korean that I know. And I'm like, yeah, sorry, I only know these 3 words. And that's it.
I mean, what's impressive to me is
Very
that you're
perceptive.
doing that, but like you're already getting your brain scrambled by casting Pacific, and then you go and get your head punched too. I mean,
Well, I'm not getting my head punched. I'm just hitting bags and
Oh.
stuff.
Okay.
I bet it
Just
helps
work
you. I bet it helps you focus more than anything, right? Like
Maybe.
maybe you're not even sure. Well, Sleepy, how about you? What you been up to, my man?
Yeah, on the same trend, I've been trying to get a bit more active this year. So I've been hitting the gym, getting to work with a private trainer too. So, you know, lose some fat and be healthy, less sleepy. Wink, wink.
Wow.
Wow.
And yeah, Marvel Rivals, man, that game is crazy. It hooks. And that's it. And a
Okay,
work,
bye.
obviously. Don't show this to Nick. Okay.
It's funny that you mentioned Marvel Rivals because I've also been playing that for like the past
There you go.
month, really. And I was telling you about you guys right
Look at Clinton.
before this started that it's funny how once you get to a certain rank like GM and
Yeah.
stuff, you see all the retired pros from every single game in SEA that's still
Yes.
playing on the servers, from Valorant, from CS, from Overwatch, from even PUBG, as Clinton mentioned.
Apex as well.
Apex
Yeah,
too.
yeah,
Like
yeah.
everybody's there, like, oh, it's you. What's up, retirement? What's up? You know? We're here. But
Yeah, it's becoming a cycle at this point, right? Every few years, there's a new game that comes out.
That
Every
unites
player from
everyone.
every title just comes together and, hey guys, what's up? It's this time of the year.
yeah, practically. It comes to a point where, like, you know, when you see somebody, you're like, I know what this dude's about to play. I know what I'm going to play. You know what I'm saying? I know I got to flex for this dude. This dude has an ego. No, I'm kidding. I mean, you know, same. I guess for my end, same things with Sleepy here. Been back to the gym a lot more consistently. Especially after my injury, like maybe in the tail end of last year, it was really hard to go back to the gym. So recently I've been finally able to lift without any pain, which has been really nice for me.
Nice.
So yeah, that's been it. And funnily enough, the last time we did this, guys, we had a holiday episode, right? We had the New Year coming on up. But when you guys see this episode, which is probably be about a day from recording, it's going to be the Lunar New Year's as well. So happy Lunar New Year to everybody. I don't know how to say it in any other language. Maybe one of you do.
Say Bokmani about the
Shinyan Kwaila.
Korean.
See you next time.
Okay, we're gonna move on here.
Yes,
We
let's move
are
on.
we have promised ourselves, new year, new me, and one of our new resolutions that we're gonna keep this under 2 hours this time because we keep on going over way too long. And to start off this episode today, we're gonna start talking about China first and foremost.
man.
I've actually been keeping up with the Chinese scene for this past week or two because of their kickoff, and just I like to farm my predictions correctly. And I don't know. I mean, I think it's really hard to kind of penetrate into China as a whole when you guys have been, if you guys have been trying to keep up to it. Luckily nowadays there's a lot more coverage of the region and of the scene than it used to be. But have you guys been, really tuning into what's been happening during the kickoff there in that side of the pond?
Somewhat. It's been on during Pacific, like a lot of it, so it's hard to because it's literally on at the exact same time as Pacific. So it's like I'm watching Pacific, and then it's like, all right, I got to go back and watch the VODs from China. So I put them on at like 1.5, and I'm like, blazing through them. And yeah. It was nice, because they started earlier, so it was really easy because I could just pop it on and watch it before Pacific started. But now it's I've been watching. I watched the last couple of days though, so just it's been pretty fun. I
think just like every now and then you just see big news on your socials, right? Like, oh my god, EDG 13-0 twice in a row or something like that, and you're like, I gotta take a look.
Exactly. Well, if you guys aren't familiar with the news,
right there, I rely on news.
That's you
on the socials.
Sorry. I was just saying,
uh-huh.
No, I'm that guy who relies on the news that comes on social media,
aka Twitter at this point, or X. Well, if you guys aren't familiar with the news, it's going to be EDG and Trace Esports to be representing China, moving on over to Masters Bangkok. And funnily enough, boys, I'm not too sure if you've seen it, but Trace actually beat EDG in the upper bracket. They sent them to the lower bracket where they had to beat Billy. I thought Billy would have been one of the teams to make it there, to be honest. But they beat EDG, and for EDG, that wasn't something that I think most people are expecting, but they came back to it. So your thoughts on that? They got 2-0'd, rather they got, what was it?
Yeah, they got 2-0'd.
2-0'd. I almost second doubted myself, like, no way they actually got 2-0'd, right? Yeah, they did get 2-0'd, and then they came back 3-1. So any thoughts on this?
Typical EDG. I mean, it's the exact same thing that happened in stage 1 last year against FPX, right? Like FPX beat them in the upper finals, and then EDG just came back and blew everybody out of the water. So it just feels like they're like an old god, man. Like they're just like laying dormant, and then something wakes them up. Like all it took was that 13-0 on Haven, and all of a sudden, they're like Cthulhu, man. There's nothing you can do to stop it. Like the world's over. Like they've won China. It's done. So they're just, I mean, that's like the general big picture, but there's a lot to break down within all of that. But yeah, once they woke up, it was just like, okay, they're winning this thing again. Like there's just no doubt in my mind.
I'm not sure if I'm misremembering a quote that Kang said after they won the championship. He said something like, if EDG wasn't born, then VCT China would be nowhere or something like that.
The darkness. He said they'd be in the darkness.
Darkness.
Shrouded in darkness. Oh my god.
Oh, there you go. See, main character.
Damn.
Aura.
So much aura, dude. Damn.
And
straight up fire.
Interestingly, this quote comes from I don't know, ancient times when there's a quote that says if Confucius hadn't been born, then China would be in eternal darkness.
Oh man,
he's got some history bombs he's dropping there too.
Okay.
Dang.
I'm trying to Google the actual quote.
I mean, he is built different. He is absolutely built different.
Absolutely. And that's part of the reason why they are being the number 1 seed. Moving over to Masters Bangkok. But he's not the only one built different, because we saw an incredible clip. If you guys have checked it out, Hey Bay, the 1v5 ace that he had during their match versus EDG here.
Was everywhere.
I mean, take a look if you guys haven't seen it for yourselves. I mean, every time you see a 1v5 ace when you're all alone, it always makes the rounds on Twitter anyway. So you end up tuning in and seeing, no matter what region it's from, but especially when it's from China, because you don't always see them, at least on our side of the pond. So I think this is kind of big news, especially with the opponent they were up against.
Well, and this is where you started to have big time doubts about EDG, right? Because they kind of really threw this one. there was no real reason to play it the way they did. Like they're way too spread out, and they're not kind of playing it patiently, and they're not really reacting properly. You could see they go different ways, and I mean, credit to Hebei, who's hitting some sick shots, but like this is like the moment when all of a sudden everybody's like, oh no, is EDG just collapsing? Like, are they not going to make the next thing? Because like they were losing matches, or they were losing maps they probably shouldn't to teams, and like it was kind of looking sort of sus. But eventually they did turn it around. But this was just, I mean, what a play from Hebei. That's got to feel good. That was in the upper finals, right? Is that right? So. Was it? I think so. Anyway,
against EDG, yeah.
Yeah. Well, they played them twice,
the first
but
time they beat them, right?
The first time they beat them,
Upper
right?
semis.
Yeah. And this is where you kind of like, we're like, oh boy, like maybe this EDG thing is kind of running out of steam, but it's fake news.
Especially
so
when you were doing our hot takes, and I said like EDG winning was not the fluke. I was like, okay, I'm about to.
No, but this is all too relatable, guys. This hits too close to home. Like watching EDG do what they did against TE the first time was like watching PaperX anytime. So I know that feeling. It's always a question of whether this team is still even trying, given the success that they've had so far. But they've proven that yes, they do still want to be in the game. So I love it for EDG.
Well, hold your horses there, Sleepy. We'll get to PaperX in a bit. Don't you worry.
All right, buddy.
Don't you worry.
I'm just drawing parallels. Okay.
Well, EDG, they did still kind of continue their dominance of the scene. They did lose, yes, their only one match throughout the kickoff, but I mean, they had a 32-round win streak for one, which is kind of crazy, first and foremost. Second of all, I mean, I don't know. I think this Trace Esports team, obviously everybody's going to expect EDG to be the number 1 seed, but for a second seed, I don't know if they were necessarily the highest pick for everybody else. For me, I was banking on Billy, really. Not that Trace was any far lower. I thought they'd be like a 4th seed, but opinions on the fact that it's Trace Esports to be going back up there.
Oh. They're the team with that coach that was
Villain, right? Destroyer. That's his name.
Great name.
And like people might meme about it, but to be honest, to have an environment where like people will have differing opinions on this, obviously, but Destroyer being as vocal as he is, being as expressive as he is, it actually might have an impact towards building an actual positive environment in a team. Like it might not be the most fun getting yelled at like that every time, but if the players are mature enough to be able to accept that as just, a part of the process of building a strong team with a great foundation, this is what we see, right? Like this is the results that you can expect in a team that's focused, same vision. Doesn't matter how we get there, as long as we get there, we get there.
It's like, it's shocking, but sometimes it's a good little wake-up call. I mean, I don't know what it's like for the team all the time, but, maybe he doesn't always yell at them. It's just that one or two times where his players were kind of like, not too respectful of like what's going on and stuff, right? Maybe.
Yeah.
So to have a coach like that, I think it really does provide quite a bit of value.
All I can remember is that clip where he's shouting at the team and EDG comes off the bus and they're like, ha ha. That's all I think about whenever I remember that coach. But, well, if you guys want more stuff that we've found on the internet, including those type of videos, we've tried to add a new thing coming into this year called Forum Finds, where we look at some of the most interesting stuff you netizens, I hate that word, have said on the forums. Apparently, I already pulled up one of it, which is a Kankang Fire quote. We do have another one where it's a story about nobody's background, which is kind of crazy, actually. Imagine this. Nobody was actually sent to an internet addiction school where kids were commonly abused and beaten, including being electrified in an electric chair, all this stuff, in order to make them stop gaming. The first thing nobody did after he came out was go play at the nearest internet cafe.
That's the best part.
That is dedication.
That's
not just dedication. It's like
maybe this explains some of the weird rounds that nobody does sometimes. It just leaves you scratching your head a little bit. But I mean, what chat energy though? Like just to come back and just be like, nah, I'm actually
I'm going back,
right?
Yeah, dude.
It's built into his DNA. It's like you can't get that out of him. That's what it's made for.
That's
that's actually crazy though. Like getting electric chaired for
Yeah,
internet
please tell
addiction.
me that's just like internet rumors and not true.
Yeah, please, man. Like I can't really imagine it.
I don't know
being
if it's
true.
electric chair, but the comment, saying something about like it's usually just like people setting these up to like get money out of worried parents and stuff.
Right.
Yeah,
Okay.
probably something like that. I mean,
Well,
I wouldn't be surprised, not gonna lie, after reading that,
Mm.
considering like how in the 90s they would send their kids off to summer camp to set them straight for whatever reason,
Mhm.
in like
Keep them off the streets.
keep them off the streets. I don't know. What's that show like Gone Straight, like Scared Straight or something, where they send the
Right.
kids to like fake prison, something like that.
yeah.
That
Scared
is kinda-
straight. Yeah,
Scared
yeah.
Straight, something like that. Kind of crazy. But another forum find here, region comparison. What is this about?
Let us
This is,
see.
like relating each region to something.
Oh, I see. I see.
Oh.
Okay.
VCT America.
I don't know how I feel about this.
VCT Pacific, most fun.
Most
okay.
fun.
Yes,
Yeah.
I agree.
I agree.
I agree with that. Most interesting meta reads from China, and EMEA most competitive.
You got to read the comments too.
The only one I
fine.
kind of don't. Oh God. Because all teams. Nah, except for heretics. I still believe in.
I still
Heretics.
believe in Benji. Yes.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
agree.
I still believe in that team. The rest of EMEA is it's kind of like Pacific and EMEA, right? Like where it feels like in the middle of everything, it's so close, it's really
Right.
hard to like pull it apart. So that's kind of the way I've been feeling, just trying to keep up with it as best I can, which I am definitely not nearly as up to date as I'd like to be. But I don't think that's. I think the one about China might be the one that I kind of raise my eyebrows at a little
Yeah.
bit.
I
I will say they try interesting stuff from time to time, but I don't. If you're talking about just like agent composition meta, then maybe, because they do kind of go off the grid a little bit. But when it comes to like the stylistic play of the maps, like something that really bothered me when I was watching the VODs of like Billy versus EDG was like their complete just lack of map control sometimes. And like one of the big reasons EDG does so well is because they run a lot of Sova and info, like Cypher Sova, right? And so this like really shuts down a lot of the understanding of the map, and like the IGLs don't seem to be able to adapt very well. Whereas nobody like gets all this information and does pretty darn well with it for the most part compared to a lot of the other teams in the region. So I don't know that the meta in terms of like how to play the macro game of the maps is really there yet. And that's something that does concern me still with this region. Like I figured they'd pick it up more, but I'm still not seeing the progress that I would have liked.
Well, they won the champs last time, so that has to count for something.
But that, well,
Yeah.
EDG is the exception. EDG is the exception to the rule. Like they're in their own they're in their own realm right now, and nobody else is really even close.
Well,
so
that's fair.
a better description of China is a one-team region.
There you go. It's
We'll
true.
see.
As good as
All right.
good as like Trace can be, and I like Kai in particular. I think he's a really, really good player. Feng Feng can be. But like outside of that, like a lot of the players that are doing well are import players. Like I think the best player on Billy is Neff. Like when I watch their VODs, like YZ and K Knight, for example, are really inconsistent. They can be really good, but like YZ's Neon isn't nearly as good as like Kong's, for example. And they're not going to hold a candle. Like if they let's say they make the next Masters in Toronto, like they're going to struggle.
I mean, to be fair, I think if you took all the other talent outside from EDG and China, like all the top tier talent, and made like a super team of the next guys, I think they could do something. They could make a splash. They could take down some teams from other regions. I think the talent in China right now, it's kind of spread out just because of the fact they have their own VCT. Everybody's on different teams. If you put all like the best 5 players together from all those teams and made an all-star team, I think there could have been something. So for now, maybe a 1-team region, could be a 2-team region in the near future, perhaps.
Yeah.
But I mean, China, what else is there to say? We looked at their kickoff. We have our 2 representatives going to Masters Bangkok. We would have liked to see a third, perhaps a champs. That's where we're going to see them. But it's going to be EDG and Trace to move on forward and represent 1 and 2 seeds respectively. All right. So there he goes. We wrap it up for China this time around. We're going to move on over to the Pacific, where lots of news has been happening. Our two boys over here, Paperthin and Quack, have been casting their asses off with these games recently, especially with one of these games that Sleepy could want to jump on very soon. PaperX versus ZETA. That match and how it turned out. Any thoughts immediately after the game?
No.
No.
Come on. You gotta have thoughts.
You guys know which round that kind of blowed out the match out of proportion. It was the Shota 1v4 on a Cypher on Lotus. I remember specifically the round. And it's so funny to me because when I see that, I'm not ever surprised anymore these days. Like, it's just one of those things that will happen to PaperX whenever they play. But against ZETA, I have to say, maybe I'm a bit biased, whatever. But I do feel like when we play against ZETA, it just doesn't feel as panicky as it felt when we were playing against T1. Because on paper, we know T1 is one of the strongest teams right now in Pacific. So if those kind of things that happened here in this clip happen at the T1 match, I would panic. But here, I was just, okay, yeah, another day with PaperX. So it was a bit of a comfy situation versus ZETA. That's why when you ask me, like, what thoughts do I have? No, I don't really have any thoughts. It's just going to be another day at the office for PaperX.
There was another round though, right? Where
Yes.
Shota was like on the chamber.
Yes, that was
also
another
kind of
round. Dude, it was so funny because the other day we were having our weekly meetings internally in PRX, and Tommy, our new manager, he's also joining this team to just update the rest of the team and the company on whatever's happening in Korea with the players and stuff. And as he was debriefing us about the PRX ZETA match, he was just angry about this chamber player just hitting the sheriff. He keeps hitting his sheriff shots, man. What the hell? That's all he can say.
That's like everybody going up against Gen G last year. They were just destroying people with sheriffs, dude. Well, I mean, like, Shota is like mechanically a very, very strong player. I think there's a lot of problems with ZETA in terms of a whole bunch of things. I think Clues is still really trying to understand how things actually work at the tier 1 level in terms of like shot calling and management of utility and alt management in particular. Like in their first match on that Haven, when they used the Rolling Thunder then Neural Theft at the same time, I'm like,
yeah, like
why? I was losing my mind. But during this match, I would like to give some flowers to PaperX. I thought they had a round here that was super interesting. It was an eco round, and Forsaken buys the Outlaw on a Sky. Solo pushes a main. This one I'm not mad at Clues about, like, or ZETA, because this is really hard to read, like, what Forsaken's doing here. And he gets backed off, but they see him, and that's weird info to get, right? Like, you see the Sky Solo with a sniper rifle on one side of the map, and that causes ZETA to over-rotate to the other side. So this sells a beautiful fake. And then they have some good util to clear out Shota here to initially make sure that he can't do any damage with that headhunter, the sniper. So they do a really good job of giving themselves essentially a 5v5. And then they set up Forsaken to help cover with Devi, who's holding right outside of the tunnel. I really, really like this round because I don't care who you are. This is a really difficult round to read as an opponent. And it's a really unique ecos idea. Even if they never use it again, it's got to be in your head when you're playing against them on this map that they're going to do wild and crazy stuff. And it's really hard to guess exactly what's going to be behind it. And you can see the combined fire here between Devi and Forsaken is really, really good. The push and pull they can generate there with that space is so strong. And yeah, Shota hits some, banger headhunter shots when it doesn't matter in this round because the timer's already ticked too far down. But in general, this is like one of those things that is so creative, and it's like, it feels like it's like Jason just like, I don't know if he figured this out on before the match or during the match or whatever, but it feels like something he kind of dialed up in his brain and came up with. I'm not sure if that's true, but that was one of my favorite rounds of that match from PaperX.
I agree. And thanks for the breakdown, Clint. I think that was great. And also, I remember when I saw because I was watching it in between, like doing stuff outside of the game. Like I was watching and doing something else at the time, and I remember I flashed away. I looked away, and then I looked, and I saw an outlaw. Oh, we won first round, and then I saw it again, and wait, actually no, we actually lost pistol. Why is Jason on outlaw? It's just that surprising. Like it's not normally, right? And I feel like if we break it down further and analyze it, it makes super good sense to actually buy the outlaw in the second round if you have the money, especially on attack if you get the spike planted, right? Because the opponent will probably want to buy up good guns these days because they want to roll that into the bonus round, and that means they'll only have half armor. And the outlaw is actually super strong against that, and now it makes so much sense that Jason has shown it to be working. Maybe other teams will see this and start thinking to themselves like, okay, this is actually something we can try in the future, especially if you have a super strong sniper player.
Yeah, especially with the regen armor in play, like you can do a lot of economic damage now. It's not a bad idea at all.
Like on top of that, right? Like you're right. Like the regen shield is so good to build up your economy in the second round after you win the first. So if you can kind of break that with an outlaw, that kind of stops in its track, right? Like you actually prevent the opponent team from building any economy at all. So that's great.
Yeah, there you go. I mean, especially in a map like Fracture, right? The rotations are always finicky to deal with on defense.
Exactly.
Like you have a safe rotate, yes, but the attack, they have so many options. They have so many ways they could go, so many avenues. But you look at ZETA, and one of the things that they did do, and a lot of teams have been doing, teams like Boom and teams like DRX, is pull out the Tejo. You guys, any opinions on how they tried to implement it in this match? I mean, Clint, you already broke down a bit, but I kind of want to hear your thoughts on how like they tried to implement this, especially on that map. Like, do you think it's a worth it idea to continue implementing further on?
Yes. Yeah. Look, even though it didn't, it maybe doesn't work out the way they want. It is like, and I think XDL played okay on it. It wasn't great, but it just didn't. I mean, the whole stage, right? You could tell in all of Kickoff that ZETA just wasn't with it yet, like for whatever reason. And I think there's really good ideas with Tejo on the map, as we've seen from like DRX, as we saw from Paperthin as well the first time they played it, right? Like, and you see it in the other regions, in Americas in particular. Yeah, they've really got a good read on Tejo, and this is that like what they're doing in Americas is more what I was expecting, and DRX as well, what I was expecting with Tejo. Versus what a lot of the other teams are doing with it. Like they don't really fully have a grasp yet on how to manage the util. And like even in this match, there was a round where Devi had the lockdown and they used the guided salvos super early in the round. And then immediately Devi's reaction is to place the lockdown I think it was in tunnels. And that forces out then the orbital strike, which ZETA had been sitting on because they don't have anything to clear that lockdown. So it's like, their understanding of like the macro game in terms of like the way the util needs to like fall as dominoes isn't there yet. And so they need some serious help with that. But I think in the future, it should be something they should continue to look to.
Yeah. The utility shuffle, I think, has been something that teams definitely could improve on in our region. As you mentioned, in Americas, that's part of the reason why Americas are so good at that is because, to be fair, they had like strong region, North America, strong region, South America. Let's squish them into one. And then there's a lot of talent to go around that way. In Pacific, things were kind of spread out at first. You don't have as much representation up until we actually squished everything together. And then they're like, okay, let's try and take these guys from tier 2 and see where they go. But for PaperX, they're going to be going up against another Japanese team. And luckily for you, Clint, it's going to be the one that you actually quite like here in DFM. DFM, they did take a map off of RRQ, eventually losing the series. But Sleepy, another Japanese team here, arguably a better one moving forward.
Yeah. Look at this, man.
That was the best poster in VCT history.
Highlight of
nothing better.
Highlight of the year. Yeah, this is gonna be remembered as an all-time high.
This broke me to kill you. So
great meme. It was so good. But yeah, DFM. I would have to agree that DFM is looking much better now than ZETA, which was a complete flip from like 2 years ago, where ZETA was kind of dominating, qualifying to internationals. DFM now looks so much stronger with, everyone in the team now just stepping up. and just having this is the thing they talked about, right, Clint? Like ZETA might seem like they're not into the game yet in terms of being able to read the map, in terms of shuffling their utilities, but DFM is just much more in tune that way, I feel. And May being the spearhead of that team is just, I'm worried. Like that's all I can say at this point, to be honest. Like, even though in my head I know we're supposed to be a little bit better than DFM, or maybe even much better than DFM, but I'm still worried about that X factor in May. Having said that, I think DFM will put up a good fight, so it's not going to be a one-sided match at all. It's going to be a close one.
Yeah. I mean, just casting that game yesterday too. It's just
a
lot of those moments. It feels a little bit close sometimes, but then towards the end, it just you got May stepping back up again. I don't know how or why it happens, but he just lands these crazy shots.
Feels like May is one of those generational talents in Japan. And so if any team can actually bring Japan out of this, I guess, rut, it's gonna be him, and he's with DFM, so DFM might have a chance.
It's quite
or
cool
maybe
to
I'm
see
just
also,
saying
like-
things. Yeah,
I mean, there's like a lot to it too. I mean, May definitely is the big name for sure, but I think yesterday was it like Akame stepped up quite a bit on split. Like I don't know what happened, but just being able to find some of these crazy shots and moments as well. Or even just Jinbung, actually. I think Jinbung was like such a solid sentinel with how he kind of controls space. Like he just knows where he shouldn't going over aggressing too much. And because of that, he's able to kind of control things a lot better.
Yeah, I think there's a lot, especially on Abyss, that DFM does really, really well. I mean, obviously May is like so good at the game. Like I think Pilsky said it best yesterday on the analyst desk after the match, that May had like an average game for himself, and it was still like a really, really good game for most duelists. And like that's the scary thing about May, is when he's at his like peak, he is like one of the best duelists on the planet. It's just, yeah, they need the consistency behind him, and it helps with Akame and Jinbung stepping in and looking really good. Art IGLing is getting better. There are times though, like on that split, where I was losing my mind because of some of the decisions that were being made. And the real question is GN actually going to be able to like catch up quick enough this year? Like he clearly still has a lot of bad tendencies from being a ranked player, that like stuff he could get away with in ranked that doesn't work. And he did get better. Like he had some big moments on both maps. So that's good, but he still doesn't have like the creativity. Sometimes some of the ideas with like, there was that one execute on split where they were trying to slow push past the B main door, like where you normally have the Astro Orb for the gravity well to like break up the execute, right? So they were trying to sneak, I think it was Akame with head of hero rifle. They were trying to sneak him past, but then he throws a smoke down like right as they're doing that, and that just like throws the whole thing away, because then it just gives it away to Poppy, and Poppy's like, boom, gravity well, your whole execute's ruined, your hero rifle's on the ground, and like stuff like that, where it's just like there needs to be better coordination and understanding with him in particular.
Yeah, I think for sure there's still things to like improve on overall, but just to throw something a little bit funny in, I guess, like because I was casting with Chopra the whole time, my phone was going off on the side, and I didn't know what it was. I thought it was like the Kakao like work chat, but no, it's actually Clinton. I don't know if the camera can pick it up, but you can see.
Well, you can.
me losing my mind in chat.
Why are they pushing? YP? Stuff like that.
The passion.
Like, thank God.
I love it. Nice. That's a good one. Well, another thing to add, right, guys? This is not the first time now that we're playing DFM. We did play them in the off season, and they did beat PaperX 2-0.
Yeah.
Which obviously in the end PaperX turned it around, but it felt like their time is here, if you know what I mean. Like it felt like this is a momentum that they can carry on forward, because now they know that they can compete with everyone in the league, maybe even beyond. So that barrier of having a mindset where you're still playing catch up is probably like long gone, and now it's just about pulling out all the stops and just doing whatever you can to beat everyone.
What is that title you pulled up?
Good night,
Gandhi?
Phil. What's this?
China is not real region. What's that supposed to mean, buddy?
What is this, Johnny? What the?
Are they a figment of our imagination?
Is this another forum find?
Starting forum finds.
Starting form. All right,
Live
Johnny's just
forum.
gonna hit us with all these random ass threads, huh? Okay, I'll take
Alright.
it.
Just one last thought about DFM. I mean, I
Yeah.
think May said it pretty well in their post-match interview yesterday that really it's a confidence thing. And you could tell, like, they come into Abyss, both times they played Abyss in their first match against RRQ and their second match against GE, like, they were slamming. Like, they were absolutely just destroying. And clearly they're well prepared in that regard, but they need kind of good ideas on as the halves go deeper. Like, that's when their ideas start to fall apart. And when they don't have that good idea mid-rounding. Like, they won the bonus on their attacker side on split as well against GE, and it was beautiful. They were pulling utility, like, they were working the map, and then they never did it again. And, like, that's the thing where they need to be able to, like, diversify the thought processes. And so a lot of that's going to be on Art, and he has to improve in that respect, and the coaching staff too. So you could see the potential. They know how to do things properly. It's just they have to consistently do it now. And I think May is 100% right that a lot of that is going to boil down to confidence.
I'm going to pivot this real quick into a forum find that we do have listed on up here. It's called How to Help Japan.
Oh, God.
What
my
is that
God.
title?
Real quick. How to Help
Okay.
Japan.
God.
And the top comment right under says hire Koreans.
Well, that's kind of what they did before.
It
no?
is. It is. I mean, Jinbung and Akame are Korean.
Yeah.
Scroll down to it, Ron D. Look at the next one. Look at the next one. Look at the next top comment. Clone May
Clone
five
May
times.
Clone May.
Yes.
I mean, that would be pretty
That would
nice
be
team.
insane, yeah. I'd say
If you
yes
could
for
get
me.
Depp and May on the same team, you'd be cooking.
Oh, interesting.
You'd be cooking.
That's a recipe.
I mean, I was
right
thinking
there.
the other day, I'm like, if I could put together the best Japanese team,
Mhm.
it'd be like May, Depp, Akame, Syota. Actually, I'd move Syota to a controller since that's more of his normal role. I wouldn't actually take Sugar Zero. And then I have questions about the fifth player, but that's kind of where I'd lean because Depp can flex, like we've seen it, right? Like he can play some initiators pretty well. So
There you
Do
go.
they
I mean,
need help,
the
though?
riddle order players.
yes, they need help. They desperately need
Okay,
help.
they do. I was just trying to bait out some responses from us because we've just been reading comments. Now I want to hear your thoughts, guys. How do we help Japan?
How do we help Japan?
Coaching.
Yeah, I've heard Clinton say that before.
No, but I agree. I think coaching is vital. Like,
Yeah, I think if you're going to
and
take imports, it should be coaching staff, not
coaching
players.
staffs, yeah,
so.
or at least IGLs, right? Like coaching, I think directly correlates with improving IGLs. Like this is building on top of what Clint was saying about, them having the confidence, having the fundamentals to be able to take on these other teams in Pacific and beyond. They have that, they're ready. But to be able to maintain that throughout the series, throughout the tournament, that's what I think is lacking in a lot of the teams, not just Japan, to be honest, but in a lot of the other regions too.
Yeah.
Even for us, Paperthin sometimes.
Well,
I think it comes down to stamina, guys. Like,
Yeah.
people may underestimate this, but imagine you're a team that's just falling behind and you're having to play catch up all the time, and you're always like behind by 5 to 10 rounds in a match. Like, that actually sucks the soul out of you, and you having to come up with creative solutions while you're being battered by headshots and utilities like left and right. It's a hella stressful situation, and the ability to take that aside and think of the way forward, that's actually very super underrated, I think.
Well,
And-
that's a perfect segue to an O's and as well as stamina, because another team that they did 2-0 here, DFM, was Global Esports, which is arguably the better Filipino team at this point. And speaking of Filipino teams who have lost stamina throughout their series, Team Secret.
Team Secret.
Oh boy, I think Quack, you were casting
Yeah.
that one versus RRQ, weren't you?
Yeah, it was.
Any thoughts you didn't or couldn't say on broadcast?
Very
No,
specific.
nothing much. Actually, on broadcast, I'm just kind of like no brain. I'm in the moment. I'm not thinking too much.
Well, we do have a 4K from Mr. Jesse Vash himself.
Yes.
This was sick.
During Lotus, which is funny because I think this week, both in Pacific and China, we've seen quite a few clips on Lotus in general, like happen.
Jesse's been popping here and there. I mean, he had that ace on Pearl in their first match, and that was disgusting.
So that's why I was like,
yeah.
G really the 100% unequivocally the better Filipino team? I don't know at this point. Jesse still got it in him. Jesse Vash still has
it's one player.
One player, yeah.
When Jeremy's doing okay every now and then.
Yeah.
But
what the heck happened to Envy though?
Yeah, that's a big question.
He does not look good. And that's mega scary for Team Secret.
Especially when last year it seemed like he was the guy for this team, right? And now, I don't know. I honestly don't know. Kickoff could be a fluke for them. I don't know at this point.
I mean, maybe it's just because, it's kickoffs and they just picked up Meow, right?
They did.
But,
they did.
I think this Lotus, you start to see a little bit more from Team Secret at times, even though, like the whole series kind of went the way that it did. Envy he had some cool moments. Like he got him and 2GE, they had some rounds where they kind of got like sick timings to slip through like A site stairs and stuff like that. But also, this whole moment.
I love Papa JC, dude.
I love that he shows the mouse there. Remember, because he blamed the zero kill game on the mouse.
You did that face. I mean,
I know the face is so good.
They had the whole setup. RQ was kind of running into them. The timer was running out, so I kind of thought like, okay, the round's just pretty much over. But then RQ starts to like kind of stick the spike. What I didn't expect was Jesse Vash just like, all right, I got the classic. I'm gonna jump out with it.
It's always surprising to see him frag out, even though he does it more often than you'd think, just because he's never been known as like a super sharp mechanically aim player, but he's always had super calm aim. Like we would joke about it when he, even back then at the start of the VCT, that he would always aim like this, like bam, bam.
Yeah, not insane.
Bam.
Clicks.
But he'd always hit every shot. It's slow, but it's consistent. And I guess having that calm kind of aim and, game sense about him is definitely beneficial, especially for a team as young as they are. It's funny to say that because the rest of the team is actually pretty young on this squad. And I think it's part of the reason why maybe as well they're kind of struggling to find their form, especially with a new coach coming into this. And the reason why I brought up stamina as a segue is because in both of the series that they've lost here in Kickoff, and they've lost to Global Esports and as well as RRQ, they've won the first maps pretty handily, actually, but then have severely slumped in map number 2 and 3, getting practically stomped for those map number 2 and 3s against RRQ with 13-4. Next one's same thing, 13-4. So it's the stamina here. I don't know, man. It's hard to tell sometimes what the problem could be, because I don't know. Are there any symptoms you guys think here moving forward? Is it just new coach type thing that they haven't found their form? Like, why is Envy struggling? Why is the rest of the team also following suit? They were doing well near the tail end of last year, but then now it's like, what's happening, guys?
It's just hard to pinpoint.
It's
exactly
this
one
is
thing.
Yeah, one of the hardest things to tell is this, because it's so intangible, right? It's not so easy to like allocate or I guess attribute these symptoms to an actual thing that happened day to day. Like it could be so much of a mix. Like it could be a personal life thing. Like, you could be having trouble sleeping. You could be having trouble with your boyfriend, girlfriend. Like,
it happens more than you think.
Yeah. So these day-to-day stuff, I think, comes down to just having the discipline to be able to own up to that title professional player and not have those things affect you when you are in the server.
Well, I know Quack's hot take was Team Secret are not getting any better this year.
Well, not just like that.
They're definitely not getting any worse from this point on, for sure.
The full official hot take was like they're not gonna make it to like playoffs or Masters or something like that. Yeah,
you're on track.
You're not too wrong with that one.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, apart from like some of the possible like personal stuff that could be going on, I think it's also just like I don't know. When you're playing against teams like RQ who are, constantly improving and like playing new comps and stuff. Not to say that Team Secret aren't doing that. They did do the Vise at some point. But also it's just like from the round to round reads, sometimes it's a little bit like lacking, or it's they're kind of getting outplayed by one or two things, and it kind of snowballs in a whole other thing, and that's just really tough to come back from sometimes. But the thing that kind of always surprises me about Team Secret, especially in like the previous years of Pacific, is they might like start things off a little bit slow, but after a while they start to like get some reads, especially with like either the coach or maybe it's Jesse Vash IGLing and doing all the VOD analysis. They start to actually pick up on things. So it's just kickoffs, double elimination bracket. I don't want to write them off just yet. I still think they do need a little bit more, but I don't know. So far, I'm liking some of the moments.
I was about to say, I bet. Do you know who I bet had good reads against Team Secret in that game?
I'm pretty sure I liked that tweet. I am fairly certain I liked that tweet.
It's like, yes.
Oh wait, he's pulling up the receipts. Hold up.
Oh no,
really
am I in there? I don't know.
Paperthin, where
He's on
are
reposts,
you?
like-
I can't remember if I didn't like it. I
This is
wanted
repost.
to.
like
Oh man, you gotta save one for like 2GE because he used to be an RQ.
Oh yeah, true.
At some point, if he
That's
does,
true.
you
That's
know.
true. That's true.
That is true.
I mean, I think like what concerned me the most about kickoff was just the coordination wasn't that good. Like let's just say that their comps and their like macro game are pretty whatever, like kind of let's say like middle level. But like their individual like coordination, like playing for trades, playing off of each other was not there a lot of the time. And that is super concerning because this is a team that's been together for a while now. And I'm not seeing any of that, like kind of like just like great envy, util into them scaling into sites and like some of the things they were able to shut down. Like Jesse's the only one fragging on that team. Like, what the hell is going on? Like that's not good. And like, Jesse's a fine player. I like Jesse a lot actually, but you need like Wild Oreo, Jeremy, and Envy in particular to be stepping up.
I agree.
Because those are the guys that have to be fragging. Like they should be.
They've never even been like a great team in terms of just kind of mid-rounding in general, making decisions in that as a team as a whole. They've never been like a great super macro team. And if their individual performances aren't there, then what else do they have at that point, right? Evidently nothing. And so maybe coming into the actual regular season, things will pick up for them. But I do quite like this RRQ squad. I'm continuously impressed at how much they've improved. They took a map off of Genji, by the way.
Yeah.
And that was already impressive in the way that they did it. They're going up against one of the other ascended teams here, an NSR, and that's a matchup where I honestly think this could go either way.
Yeah, Nongshim.
I'm very 50-50 on that one. I'm still trying to decide who I'm going to predict for because I feel like it's so hard to tell because if Nongshim can't just abuse the neon, like what do they have behind that? We saw their bind where they tried to raise and it went horrible. And you've seen with RRQ that they're pretty flexible with their duelists. Like, they can bring in the Neon from Anya. They can bring in the Phoenix from Anya. Jemkin is very good no matter what. He is always there. He's always in the server and he's always pounding. I think this is going to be pretty tough for Nongshim, actually. Now that I start talking myself through this, I think RRQ should have good reads on how to play against their Neon. And I think it's going to be a 2-1 in favor of RRQ, but I'm very split on this because if the good version of Nongshim shows up, then they can be just disgusting.
That's what I'm thinking about.
How big is that if?
It's kind of maybe to me 70%. Because like prep work definitely comes in because you need to be able to have setups and you need to know how to play against Nongshim because a lot of times it's always Dambi's the first one in and then you still have to think about the rest of the team, because you did see some moments from like, was it like Persia and stuff? They are still like overall as a whole team pretty insane. They do rely on the whole like Danby creating chaos by being the first one in, crazy movement, stuff like that quite a bit, but the rest of the team is still quite deadly. So if that whole like execution really rattles RRQ, I think there is a chance where you can actually see Nongshim kind of upsetting the whole balance of things. But you know, it's a bit of a mental game as well.
Well, it wouldn't be a podcast episode here about Pacific without looking at another clip from Texture this week, as once again he did pull out against our RRQ. So let's get it over with. You know, like every episode we have a Texture clip. Let's do it again.
He just can't. It just keeps happening. Like it's like fate at this point. That
No,
he's
actually, at this point, I believe everyone in Texture's team knows what to do every time he gets the 4th kill. Like, they know if Texture is up to 4K, they need to just take that one.
They tried to let him have it though this time.
They did.
They did. And then he screams like, "Why does this keep happening?"
It's just that he now just tries to go for a world's most.
There you go. Yeah.
How in the world? Why?
But I think
this is happening?
what's kind of funny about Gen G, and like obviously Texture is hilarious, is like he's actually like that a lot. Like when they're playing, like even when they're getting beat around, like he's kind of laughing and not really getting super worked up about it. So I think that's something that low key does help them a lot. Like from last year into this year, is like Texture's pretty unflappable, even if he's not playing good. And he's just got like that kind of childlike attitude where he just kind of like forgets the previous map and moves on. And like that kind of like, that does help with the team like chemistry, right? Where he's just kind of funny, he's having a good time. And now you have Foxy there too, who's also funny guy, like very carefree, like doesn't get super stressed out or angry usually. And so
at this point it's like, I know it's funny, but in a way it's kind of a good thing as well, just, you know, to keep the vibes up. Everyone's having a good time on that team. The team spirit there is really strong. You mentioned Foxy 9, but I think the one that I'm kind of thinking about, I mean, just because, you know, their next opponent, Foxy 9 is very relevant, but Karen was quite sick as well. I mean, not just the plays, but in terms of like, you know, stage presence or just that team spirit. He had like one clip and he seriously popped off. He was like letting out like a crazy war cry on the stage. You could hear it through your headset and everything. Like you watch it in the replay and there's like some aura there as well. Like Karen is starting to, he's really shedding off that, I'm just a rookie kind of thing now.
Looking a lot more confident, less green, more mean. Well, I mean, moving. What is this, Drondy? B&B, it's your time to shine. We have a fun fact about Sixth Fingers.
Okay, here we go.
Sixth.
What is this?
I can't
Open
read
it up.
this.
Open it up.
Sleepy and Drondy, you guys should probably be able to read. He was a point blank player, I guess.
Oh, is it an Indo? Oh, yeah,
Is
it is.
All
right, let me try and translate for you guys. Do you not have to translate on Facebook? Meta, come on, man. What the heck?
You can Google. Oh no, I got it. I got the
got
translation.
Tech issues.
There you go.
So his name is Six Fingers because he was born with 6 fingers.
That is actually true.
There used to be a baseball player in America who they called Six Fingers as well. Same thing.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's why the title or the first part of the caption says he's a mutant.
Now I want to.
He's a mutant
because he is. Because he actually is. Like
mutant.
for those who don't know, I believe it is his. I actually can't remember if it's his right or left hand, but one of his hands he actually has another thumb, so he has 6 fingers, hence his name.
Wow. I mean, never mind. I was about to make a joke.
So make it. Now you gotta make it.
No.
Dwandy is here to save you.
I have feelings that he shouldn't be making this joke.
We can edit it out if it's.
If you ever see someone named 3 Legs, you know.
Oh my god. Oh my god.
Okay, blackenBlue.
All right. Wait. So did he ever play with? Did he ever play with Severine when Severine was playing?
I think he might have. Dwandy, do you know?
Point Blank.
Because he was in Point Blank. Not sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
I remember Severine from Point Blank because, like,
Yeah.
for whatever reason, the random like 2 or 3 Point Blank events I did, he was like one of the guys who actually would like come and talk to me and stuff. So,
Oh
like,
yeah.
then,
That's so
yeah.
cool.
And then he started playing Valo, and then now he's a caster in Indo, right?
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
like,
I
super
know-
nice guy.
I know
I
Ja
love
also
Severine.
came from Point Blank.
Who?
Ja, like now.
Oh, Ja. Right.
From,
Right.
DSG for the moment that existed.
Game is
Yeah.
wild, dude.
Yeah,
SEA FPSs.
lots of people came from even like when
There's some time
you
waves, too.
even when you think of like China, like a lot of people there came from Crossfire, for example.
Crossfire. Yeah.
Right.
Yep.
Lots
Like
of
half
transfers
of all
over.
gamers. Yeah.
Mhm.
Like,
Practically. I mean, what are we saying? Paperthin, they came straight from CS. They're like, let's just straight up for a CS team.
Straight
in
up
Valorant.
CS team just ported over.
And it worked.
It worked.
I do have a little fun fact as well, though. So I mean, like speaking of sharpshooters, did you know that at the VCT Pacific building, the S-Plex building, the bathrooms there, the urinals, they have that little like fly sticker
Yeah.
so that you can
Aim at it.
better, right? I was thinking about that yesterday after the cast, and I was wondering, wait, this probably means someone had to kind of measure like where's the right optimal spot to get that sticker
For the splash damage.
yeah, for splash damage, like a raised rocket. Because if you put it too high, you might get some splash. If you put it too low, maybe it splashes upwards into the urinal. So someone calculated it, and they have it optimized for every urinal. And that's my attempt at trying to derail this podcast.
can you imagine it being that engineer, like getting tasked with like finding the optimal splash range? Like,
He's like, okay, wait, I gotta fill up and test it out again.
yeah. Like,
Put that in your portfolio. You
didn't
know, like,
they? But do you guys remember Mythbusters? Did you ever?
Yes,
watch
yes,
that?
yes.
Yeah. And
Watch
they would like
Mythbusters.
make those like fake things, like testing like peeing on a fence to see if it would actually electrocute you and stuff.
Right.
But, like, they couldn't get it right because it's like hard to replicate the way that the stream comes out anyway. But that's all I can think about is like they built some mannequin and like put it next to the urinal to test this.
all I'm thinking is if I see a sticker like that, I'm probably gonna try and long shot it. Steph Curry that. See how far I could hit the mark.
Get that 300 meters achievement.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fill out the operator here.
Oh
I mean,
God.
Oh, what are we talking about?
Okay. all right.
Well,
This
one
is a
Successfully
derailment.
derailed. I did.
Yep.
This is you were right. You were right,
Thank you, Quack.
Twandy. Eventually, B&B was gonna completely derail this.
It
You're
wasn't
right.
me. It was Quack. I'm
It was Quack
hosting
this
here.
time,
I did it
I'm
while
surprised
he
it
was
was Quack.
hosting,
Quack
so now
started
he
it.
knows what
Yeah.
it feels like.
All right.
That's true. Way to
All
go,
right.
Quack. Proud of you.
Thank
Way to
you.
go.
Well, a lot of crazy stuff we've been saying today, but something else that Foxy9 said to DRX here. What did he say? I will show you guys, and Termy, I will show you. Just wait. A specific call out to Termy himself.
Dang.
But why?
Well, I mean, I think just given the benching and the not benching and the kind of shuffling of him in and out of the roster, right? I think my guess is he wants to show that he should have been on the starting roster, the whole time.
Mhm.
That's my guess as to what he kind of means there.
Mhm.
It's hard to say for sure, right? We
Yeah.
don't know like what they say to each other behind the scenes. But obviously there's going to be a lot for Foxy to prove.
Yeah.
It's
for
like
sure.
if you were the side piece for your ex, and you're like, actually, you're the main.
I'll show you.
Where are you going with this?
No,
Yeah.
it doesn't seem like there's any malicious intent behind the
No,
No.
banter.
I'm sure
to
it's
it.
nothing
It just feels like
personal.
Foxy is like having fun. Hey, Terry,
Yeah, for sure.
I'm gonna show you,
Storyline.
man. Or maybe
that's probably the real truth. I
Yeah,
don't
I
think
think
Foxy has a
we
bad
should have
bone in his
we
body.
should have more of that anyways from these players.
yeah.
Hell yeah.
Hell
I mean,
yeah.
it's definitely something there because remember, like when he first started out, they were kind of trying him out on that
Yes.
starting roster, right? But then there's this one, or maybe this is more behind the scenes. Maybe you know this, Clinton, what I'm talking about. There was like a behind the scenes clip with the DRX comms, and I think it was like Foxy9 and Stax being the last two alive or something. And Stax was telling Foxy, like, don't go out, don't peek. But
Yeah.
Foxy does it anyway and gets
Yeah.
killed. And, after a game like that, they started to, like, put him back in the reserves or something. And then,
Oh.
yeah, that might have been one of the things. But now, if you look at how he's playing on Gen G, especially in that match against RQ, he's, like, he's the sentinel, and he's so good at holding the angle now. Whenever it's like one person, two, three trying to peek and trade against him, he's killing and picking all of them apart, and that's crazy. That's like a little bit of growth and evolution for him as a player.
Yeah.
In his defense, if someone tells me not to peek, it kind of makes me
peeking.
want to peek. So I can't blame it on that.
It's like when you hear Deadlock's ult, you instinctively like try to get into the waypoint of the ult instead of running away from it. Like, it actually happens, dude.
Okay.
Well,
Yeah,
it
I
does
get
seem
that.
like Genji know what to do with him more than DRX did, because as we were talking about, last time, DRX would kind of shuffle him around, but now it seems like, well, Genji, they're maybe not to the same heights as before because they've lost some players, but I still do think they're a competitor in terms of the top seed here for Pacific
for sure.
moving forward,
For sure.
definitely so. Well, speaking of Pacific, it's definitely a place that lots of people come to look for, I guess, opportunities, and we have a forum find here, an interesting forum find, not a shit posty one, not the meme one, actually.
Are we sure it's not? Are we
sure? Wait.
sure it's not?
Wait,
Surely-
let me check. 100T coach search application. Is this actually?
This was real. This was real. Somebody
real.
actually submitted this to 100 Thieves, and I haven't read through it because I can't be bothered. But it seems like to me this is like either like a dude who is genuinely trying to be serious about this and like just doesn't have the right sort of methods of putting together his thoughts and his process, or he's an insane person who is going to write a manifesto. And yeah, it's like it's a little too much. It's a little too much.
It's 100 pages for each map, by the way. It's like over 100.
Isn't it 100 pages total? And like he's got like every map, but like it seems like a lot of it's like
I think it's total.
copy and pasted or something.
Is it total? Like this one's only Icebox.
What?
So it's like 250 pages total.
No.
Yeah.
Icebox isn't even in the freaking map pool right now. I know it will be, but
I respect it. I respect the grind. The fact that you're not getting paid to do this, but you want your shots so much, but you just don't have much like other experience. And so you want to be able to get your name out there and you're going to do something like this unpaid just for the sake of it, for just a chance that one of them looks at it. I respect it. Good on you, sir. I could never.
Dude, I'm not. I mean, but there's if you really wanted that job, there's such a better way to do this. Like that's the problem, right? Like it's it reminds me of like those kids who would write like the assignment in school would be to write like a 5-page research paper, right? And then they'd come out with like a 25 pager that the teacher doesn't want to read.
Yeah.
So the teacher just gives them an A because they just put in.
Okay, this guy's doing work. Yeah.
Yeah.
But it doesn't
but
work
they
that
didn't
way in the
actually
real
read it.
life.
Yeah.
How about this? Do you guys have any advice for this dude or people in similar position who want to like find their way into the scene, even through tier
Sleepy.
2 first?
Sure.
I'll let you.
Thank you.
Yeah, he's got.
I have my
Twitching
thoughts. I was just following this thread and I saw MCE, the guard coach, as you can see on the screen here. He is actually giving legit advice, which I think is important for every aspiring analyst / coach, which is communication is actually such a strong skill set for a coach or analyst, because essentially what you're doing is you're trying to distill information and turn it into a 1-pager or maybe even less, a 5-sentencer that encompasses everything that you found in your analysis. So given players or a team 100 pages to go through, the information might be good, but it will just get lost because these are not the type of people to actually go through 100 pages of things to learn. They don't learn that way. And so having the understanding of how it actually works within a team environment and how to communicate effectively without, all those extra fluff. Because look at this shit, man. Icebox description. What does this have to do with anything when it comes to competition? Like, you don't need to know where Icebox is in real life. You don't need to know what materials the roofs are made of. Like, it doesn't matter. Like, what matters is how you can improve your gameplay by showing maybe a few options for defaults, maybe a few executes, and maybe a few counter strats against some of the teams that's actually in the league that you might potentially face up against. Right? Like, who needs callouts? Like, callouts don't matter. These are not supposed to be in anything that is meant to improve a team's gameplay when they're already at that level. So, advice, communication, learn what that is and what to do with it effectively.
Yeah, it's about knowing what's important. Like because like the things that you have to know what the base level of knowledge is going to be.
Yeah.
For everybody who's already involved. So like a lot of that stuff, like you're just talking about, throw it out the window because you don't need it, right?
Yeah.
And then like if you want to talk about like what are your general thoughts about agent comps or like I think MC made a great point about defaults, like break down like the actual bigger picture things of the game.
Mm-hmm.
Show that you have a good understanding of that stuff. You don't want to give away the whole you know the whole book there. Like you got to save. Yeah. There's a lot of fluff, but you also don't need to write like a manifesto on Icebox. Like you need to give away like the key points because that's all that the people that are going to be looking at this have time to look at. They don't have the time to read that whole thing. Yeah. Even if it was on point, even if it was all actually very like direct, useful, valuable information, which it's not. So freaking think about what these people already know, put yourself in their heads, and then work from there.
Yeah.
And try to keep it concise.
Exactly.
No,
I actually have a great analogy. If you guys don't
Quack's
mind.
out there like, no, I'm
No.
freaking
No.
Yeah. One of
right
these
now.
days, we're gonna show up to the casting desk. We're gonna like, oh, we're headed to Icebox. These are the map coordinates.
You should do it.
Dude,
That's
I'm
what
gonna
you
print,
should. You
I'm
should
gonna
actually
print this
print
thing
out
out
this
and leave it on the
page.
caster desk. Like,
Exactly. Do it.
Along
Print out a
with read out the
3D
whole
like
thing.
It
A3
almost
size
seems
thing.
more like an infographic that you would
Yeah.
show, that you would make. Like each page would be like an Instagram post, you know, or a Twitter post for general populace more than like a pro
Yes.
team. It seems like he's trying
exactly.
to reach out to a pro team. I think another analyst from M8, his name is JT, was also in the comments. He just said, keep it brief, man. Like,
Yeah.
max 20 pages tops for all 7 maps. You know, that's what he typically does, he says. So I agree. And I guess my one advice is if you want to do something like this and make it for like a general audience thing, make a video, dude. Like people care more about videos, even short ones, than a manifesto, as you mentioned, like a whole PDF like this. But we gave the dude his flowers. He had his 15 minutes of fame here, at least.
Sure.
So hopefully, good luck to you, Mr. What's his name? M4.
M4. Yeah.
Okay.
I mean,
Well, we
that
know
is
his
my
name
favorite
now.
gun in
He did
CS.
something right.
Yeah. Brief. You know.
My
Yeah.
favorite CS gun. I'll give him that.
Yeah.
There you go.
Sorry, one last analogy on this coaching thing.
Yeah.
I always approach coaching as like being a doctor. Like when you're trying to enter a new team, we don't start handing out prescriptions right away. You actually diagnose first. So this feels like he's receiving a patient and just handing them a whole as medical book on the history of diseases in the world and just let them figure it out. So as a good doctor, what you want to do is diagnose, figure out what the patient actually needs and what they're actually suffering, and then you try to figure out it from there.
Yeah.
Like what Clint said.
Try and do it
super
for not even a tier 2 team, man. Like a tier 3 team, even.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah. Or
Leave
even
premier
individual
team,
players.
Premier
too.
team.
Yeah.
Find some premier team who will let you run
Yes.
your madness by them.
Definitely.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Then move over to challengers after.
Yeah.
That's the play.
You can be the rabbit in Alice in Wonderland too. Like just drag them down in a
Yeah.
insane place with you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
Yep.
Thanks,
Well,
M4.
We have about how are we going here? 15 to 20 minutes left in the pod, boys.
Okay.
So now we have our new thing.
Our new thing. Our
Oh
new thing.
shit! All right, I'm excited about
Okay.
this one.
Any betters?
YAP Predicts. Oy oy oy.
All right.
More
So
PowerPoint. Let's go.
PowerPoint. This is how you do one. So we're going to be moving over to a new segment we wanted to add. We were generally guessing that we're going to kind of add new segments throughout the year in general. We already have some thoughts, guys. So don't worry about that. But this one will be YAP Predicts for episode 6. The way that we're going to be doing this on, next slide, please, John D, is that we're going to have a currency of YAP bucks.
All
So
right.
As of this episode, we each start with 20 YAP bucks.
YAP
We can
bucks.
place our bets on some questions proposed already and written, or we can even make some of our own. And whoever is the most broke by the next time the next episode has come up with a did you know? Whoever is the most broken next episode has to come up with a did you know? Okay.
Did you know you have to do this? Yes.
Yeah, okay. So if you're broke, then you have to make a did you know? And if you have the most bucks in the next episode, then you get to drop a hot take that everybody else has to defend.
Oh, I
I
love
love that one.
I
I love that. Oh,
Okay.
you all
can't
better
wait.
prepare, guys. You all better prepare.
So there's
I gotta
stakes
think
here.
about that.
There's actual stakes here. So let's move on over to our first prompt here. Prediction number 1. Who will win the VCT Pacific
Okay.
Kickoff,
All
right?
All right.
So just to remind you all, the teams still in the running are T1, Talon, Gen G, DRX, Nongshim, RRQ, DFM, and Paperthin. Boom are out, ZETA are out, Team Secret are out.
Do we have to like pick how many points we want to assign to this? Is that right? Out of the 20?
Like how much you want to bet on.
Oh my
Okay,
god!
all in.
All in.
All in.
Don't we have a
Um,
second prediction?
Yeah, but we don't know those yet. So that's don't give away the next ones.
Oh,
I want you have to
okay,
think about how
okay.
you spend your
Yeah,
points.
yeah.
I like
What's
this.
the
I like
multiplier?
this.
God.
What's the
I like that.
multiplier?
Yeah. The more we stress Quack out, the better.
John D,
I'm
I'm not a gambler. Oh, if we bet 20, we get 30 back.
what's the multiplier?
Odds,
1
basically.
Oh, okay, yeah. All right. Yeah.
I'll go first. Because I already know who I've been picking, so I'll just stick with
Okay.
it. And I'll go with 8 points for T1.
8.
Yeah,
8. Very specific.
That's a lot.
8 points.
How many prompts do we have? 3 or 2?
3.
3.
I'm like holding my breath right now, man. Oh my god!
Come on.
How many? How
Come on,
many?
guys.
Yap
Sleepy,
bucks do we
Sleepy,
You're not
have?
come on.
A veteran degenerate like me. Come on.
It should be easy for me, right?
Sleepy,
All
come
in
on.
paper
Yeah,
X. Let's
Sleepy.
go, baby.
You're just gonna, there's
can't
2
all
more
in.
questions. You can max 18. Max 18.
Max
So you at
18
Max
least have 1
18,
point. So you at least
yeah.
have 1 point for
for
the,
the
next
rest of the.
one. Yeah.
Okay. God
All
damn
in.
it. All right.
All right. I like that.
I'm gonna rethink it. 10 for paper X. Yes.
Okay.
I'll
All
save
right.
some
Half.
bucks.
That's good. That's good.
How many do we start with? Like, what's
20.
our
20.
20.
This
Who you
is
going with?
insane. We don't know what the next question is.
That's
either, huh?
correct. Yeah.
Damn it.
We have no idea.
8 script bucks. Yap bucks for paper X.
Yeah. Yap
Oh
bucks.
shit! All
Yeah,
right,
yeah.
let's go, team.
All right.
Let's go,
all right.
team.
Damn.
Black and blue.
Y'all are spending, huh? I'm gonna put
Come on.
7 Yap box for T1.
Ooh.
Oh, okay.
All right. All right.
Why not
Trying to
9?
Price is right me here. One yap buck left. All right.
Yeah,
all right.
yeah.
Hold up. We're not escaping this, Juandi. You,
Oh yeah,
All right.
John
Yeah,
D. John D.
Johnny's gotta
Oh,
do one.
Juandi.
Juandi.
Oh,
You're not going anywhere, buddy.
Like, oh, I thought I
no.
could slip past.
okay,
Nope.
Thought he
so,
could get nope. Sleepy's two on the ball.
so I'm gonna bet
Chwandi.
on T1. I'm gonna bet
Oh.
on T1.
All right, pretty split here.
All right.
How
You
many?
wanna
How
get
many
the
yap
team?
bucks?
Bet 5.
Oh, okay. See, Juandi's.
One game.
Okay.
All right. All right.
All right. All right.
All right.
So make,
Are you
wait,
allowed
make
to
sure
go
you keep
against
track
the
for
ref?
yourself, so you guys don't forget how many
Yeah,
points.
Just help us copy paste this in our chat, guys.
20
Juandi.
minus 7.
Yeah.
All
Need help
right.
with that black and blue is 13.
Let me count with my fingers.
You're gonna need your toes. You're gonna need your
I need my
toes.
toes for all this.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we have prompt number 2 here. So let's move on over to our second question. Our
Oh.
points are locked in, cannot
Oh.
change them anymore. Who will be the highest rated player in VCT Pacific
this-
Kickoff?
Are we talking like ACS or are we talking VLR rating?
VLR rating.
VLR rating.
VLR rating.
VLR
Ooh.
rating.
Who's been good, huh?
Are we allowed to check right now who's like at the top?
Don't look. Don't look. Don't look. Don't look.
No, let's
Don't
not
look,
look.
don't
Let's
look,
not
don't
look.
look.
Let's make
Okay,
it interesting.
I have no idea who's actually at the top right now. I have no idea.
Me Neither. Me neither.
This is really hard, actually.
Do we
I mean,
use
we
up all
could
our
take
Yap
a look
bucks?
now. And
No.
Oh,
Don't do it. Don't do that.
No,
Do we
okay,
use
okay.
all our Yap bucks or no?
We have to use all 20, I think, right?
Use all 20?
yeah.
Actually, no, we don't have to.
Can we
right?
save them?
We
Oh,
can
you can
save
save
them.
them.
Oh, we can
Oh,
save
okay,
them. Okay.
I'm
If
not-
you
I'm
want to
not
play
gonna
it
save 'em.
safe, technically you can.
Yeah, I'm not
avoid-
saving them. I'm going full DJ.
Yeah, I'm going full in.
Oh, you guys are mad.
Um.
Actually,
I'm looking here. Who's been doing good?
Highest rated.
I'm gonna just
'Cause
because. Well, actually,
And this could be any player from any team, like even if they drop out like before like top 4 or anything. So that's what makes it tricky.
Yeah, that's what's interesting.
Right?
You know what? I'm gonna go first.
Go ahead.
I'll
Okay.
put in 5 YAP bucks on Meteor.
Ooh. Ooh. Ooh.
I'm gonna go next. I'm gonna put in 6 for Primi.
Oh. That's
But they're playing
that's
T1 next.
That's a
Dang.
choice.
Okay.
I'm gonna go a little bit off my normal sort of what I would like to do, but I'm gonna go with let's do 6 YAP bucks on Jemkin.
Oh, Jim.
Dang it! I was gonna put Jemkin.
Oh.
You still can.
I'm gonna do
yeah.
7 then on Jemkin.
Ah.
Because you know, like Josh from Corey has been on my ass about.
Oh well,
Jemkin.
he is the biggest Jemkin believer on the
know.
planet.
But he's got a point because Jenkins' stats were pretty
We should
high
just
even
dox
last year.
Josh. Like screw that nerd.
Dude,
We should have
Get
him
on
on.
here.
How about
He
that?
needs
We
to get
should
on
actually.
here.
We should. I agree. I
Yeah.
agree.
The things
He's
would
gonna have
say.
a lot of.
No, he
shit
is.
to say.
He is the mouthiest bastard on the planet.
Shout out to Josh.
I love him. He's such a good friend.
Send
but-
him this clip when the episode comes out.
Yes,
Oh yeah,
yes.
for sure.
Oh yeah. Okay, John D put something. Okay.
Something.
Something.
Three.
Something.
Other Russian.
You're so cheap, Joandy.
It's so hard to pick someone from PaperX because like they're all good, so they're all kind of sharing.
Right,
and
it's gonna be
distributing
evened out
the-
and spread out.
Yeah,
you're
yeah.
right.
Big thing. Johnny's plan is safe, so maybe.
Yeah,
he
this
gets
has
the
me
highest-
concerned about the third question. That's what this does. Because Jwandi knows what the questions are.
Just making
Right.
sure he's not broke.
I actually
But-
don't think we have a third question, right, Joandy?
Oh, we don't?
Aha, see?
Yeah,
maybe.
So we can
we
come
do.
up with it. What do we want?
Alright,
this
what
could
do we
be-
want to bet on?
Oh.
At this point, the only team that does every now and then is like PaperX.
PaperX.
Right?
Yeah.
I don't think you're gonna pull it out. Someone put all my remaining chips on no. 7.
Okay.
Yeah.
No,
I
no,
have
no,
7,
no,
7,
no.
7.
7.
7.
Joandy.
He has 13 total.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say yes, and I will use my remaining 6 points. I think somebody's gonna get a wild hair up their ass, and
I'm gonna go with yes too, dude. Fuck it. 5 points. 5. Yeah,
He
I
knows
think
something.
I think somebody's gonna try Harbor. I think somebody's just gonna get desperate and just think they're gonna be geniuses in pulling out Harbor again.
I don't know. This late, will you take that risk?
I
the
mean,
yes
I don't
is
know.
from me.
Oh yeah,
Joandy,
yeah, yeah.
Not Quack.
How about Quack?
Quack.
Black.
All eyes on you.
Quack.
Quack.
I'm gonna say no. I'm gonna say no. It's 5. I think remaining 5, right?
Okay.
All
All
right.
right,
All right.
Jondi.
I like that.
Joandy says
Jondi,
no for 8.
Okay.
No for
All right.
8.
For 8. Oh my god! If John D comes out as the winner of this,
Jwandi's going big.
All right.
He's going big.
Let's pull it back to the first prompt.
recap.
Recap.
Yeah, let's
So,
recap. Let's
who
go.
will win VCT Pacific Kickoff? These are our predictions. I'm saying T1, Clint as well. Quack and Sleepy both going Paper Rex. Jondi T1. So points are assigned and our YAP bucks have been given. Second prompt right after is who will be the highest rated player in the VCT Pacific Kickoff? I said Primi. We have 2 votes for Jemkin, 1 for Meteor from Sleepy, and Joandi says something. Chips are already on the board with the banker. And the final prompt here is will anybody play Reina Harbor as they have not yet been played in the VCT Pacific Kickoff? I'm saying no with Quack as well and Joandi, but Paperthin here and Sleepy think otherwise. So we're going to see who is dumb and who is smart at the next episode. And yeah,
Okay.
we're, once again, go back to the first, the stakes. What we have on stake at
There you
stake
go.
here. Whoever is
Yep.
the most broke by the next episode will have to come up with a "Did you know?" And whoever holds the most YAP bucks in the next episode gets to drop a hot take that everybody else will have to defend
Oh,
for
so
them.
That's the
Spicy.
prize. That's the
You know,
big
I don't
prize.
care about losing. I just want to win.
I just want
You
to All right.
I'm doing well in my predictions in Pacific, so I'm feeling good. I'm feeling
Okay.
All right.
Feeling
Well,
All right.
there you go. For the first time, I believe we are on time here in our episode. We should be about like what, an hour 40
Yeah.
max,
Nice.
depending on how we edit things out as well. So, yeah, I mean, any closing thoughts, boys? Clint, what you think about this past kickoff? And
Dude,
any-
it's been really good. I mean, obviously we've had a ton of 2-1s. Like, I think a lot of the ideas of the teams that everybody had before the season in terms of like the parity that there was going to be in Pacific has come to fruition kind of as expected. It's looking basically like it's kind of anybody's ball game to maybe get those spots. I mean, even T1 hasn't looked flawless. So there's a lot that could still happen in kickoff.
very competitive. How about you, Quack? Thoughts?
I think kind of echoing what Clinton is saying, but also like it's going to be a good time to take a look back at our power rankings, our tier list pretty soon.
Oh, yeah.
Because you can
Oh,
start
yeah.
to see how like things are settling in.
You know, let's revisit that after the kickoff is done. Just see if we still hold
Yeah.
the same opinions
See-
next episode and how wrong we might be. How about you, Sleepy?
Yeah, I think everyone just stepped up this season, and it's not necessarily a surprise, but it's still a nice thing to see. And I would imagine that one new team, at least, will be going to internationals based on the brackets that we still have right now. So I'm super excited. Can't wait.
There we go. John D, I want to hear from you. What's up? What's up? What are your thoughts on this kickoff and moving forward? Any closing remarks from the man himself?
It is really exciting because as last year the first master just we're gonna send just 2 teams. So really looking forward if there are any upsets happening. If there are gonna be like any surprising team come out of Pacific. Yeah.
Yep.
Really exciting.
And of course, the Masters will be in Bangkok. So yay, SEA,
Yes.
APAC. Whee! There you go. On behalf of everybody, I'm blackenBlue with me, Paperthin, Quack, and Sleepy, and Juan Yu. Of course, we'll see you guys next time at the YAP2ASIA podcast. Don't go anywhere because you should take a drink of water after this long-winded episode. See you guys. Good night, good evening, goodbye, adios.
Bye.